Today we're out here on Keuka Lake checking ice thickness with someone who really knows ice. Michele spent 7 weeks on a research expedition in Antarctica and later worked alongside NASA scientists studying snow and ice in the Adirondacks right here in New York. She's brought that experience back to the classroom and to our local fishing community. Around here, they call her the Ice Lady. And today we're going to learn what's really happening beneath our boots. Hey everybody, Captain Ken with Let's Catch Fish Nation. I'm here with Michele Cross. She's the ice... What is the name?
They call me the Ice Lady
here.
The
Ice Lady. I was going to call you the Ice Queen.
I'm that too.
And so she's the one that you're seeing all her ice reports on Keuka Lake, to the point where Ice Masters wound up going and putting it on their page just to make sure that any of their ice guys wound up getting hurt or obviously worse. So, Michele, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
To finally meet you in person.
So we're on the Branchport side, so the west branch of Keuka Lake. The last time this froze completely over was 2015. So this does not freeze over very often at all. And if you talk to any of the old timers, they will caution you about gas pockets, about springs. There are quite a bit more runs into this end. So when we get the kind of cold that we had and we can freeze like this is really a treat, because this does put the fishermen potentially over the deepest part of Keuka Lake, the deepest parts for lake trout.
Right here?
Yeah.
How cool.
So
how deep is it?
Right off of here, I think where he's at is probably about 70 to 80 feet of water. And then if you go further down, like boat launch into the center, you're well over 120, 30 feet.
So it's just this whole area.
And the deepest section of Keuka is just south of the boat launch area, and I believe that's like 180, 182.
Wow.
So.
How cool is that? I remember ice fishing here way back when I had my shop and coming out, and I just remember ripping up the spoons, and it was on that drop down, they would smack it. It was...
My top 3 scariest were actually Antarctica. The worst one, or the scariest, was... It was early December 2009. We had been helicoptered out to the sea ice to deploy our underwater robot, and the melt was terrible. There were cracks in the sea ice, and when I say ice there, the sea ice in places was 100 feet plus. So it was funny, because the thinnest ice I'd ever been on before I started to do this was 9 feet down there. That was like the thinnest. So what happened was, instead of hand drilling holes for our underwater robot and our navigational equipment, we decided to use the sea ice crack to deploy. Isabel, who was one of our engineers, and I were well over 100 yards away from where all of our equipment was set up for our scientists to do transects. And you had to get close to the sea ice edge to drop the transducer, and she slipped off into the sea ice crack.
How far down did it go?
Well, she grabbed onto the edge, screamed. Her husband was over 100 yards away, as were our other 2 team members. It's a good thing I was with her, because there was no way to get to her quickly because of everything. There was ice that was sort of collapsing. I, without even thinking, hit my belly, and I literally hauled her out with one arm. And she had on, I can tell you right now, when we were in our survival gear, which we needed to be in, it was 15 pounds worth of gear. Between the down parka, Canada Goose, it's great stuff. Our Arctic bibs, our base layers, our bunny boots. I hauled her out, one-armed it. And so weight-wise, they say that adrenaline rush gives you what you need, and there's no other way to account for me being able to pull her out. Especially, those aren't designed to get wet.
Yeah.
Right.
they're just designed to keep you warm. So when they get wet, I can tell you they're extremely heavy.
Right.
So that was the scariest. Like if you're on a creek or a river, that's first of all, you've got a ton of uneven freezing going on. You have current underroading the bottom part, depending on water levels. And then, God forbid you do go through, you will, once you go under, or if you get pulled under, you're gone. I mean, it's different. It's different here. There's no such thing as safe ice. No ice is safe ice. Anytime I get an area, I do have like a free app that I can, okay, it's about here, so okay, this is about where he's talking about because it's this amount of depth. The thing about this branch in particular is it drops off very quickly from the sides. Correct.
It's not like it's a steep bluff. Typically
it's
with
deceiving.
Bluffs, right, goes straight down. But this looks gradual. You would think it's going to be gradual going all the way out.
It is at Indian Pines, so when you come out at Indian Pines and you head south, like if you were just to come out and then head south, that is shallow for a while, for a ways. This just...
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it by looking at it.
So Skylar, when you're drilling with this, one thing you should never do, whether it's a ice fishing auger or like a scientific one, is you never want to slam it on the ice to make it catch. You want to just set it and then just do this. See, can you hear how it sounds wet? Because it is.
Bringing all the ice, it's cutting all the way.
There we are, we just broke through. Yeah, yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's making me want
Yeah.
to
Now
snuggle.
this is no more Kona ice.
Here, let me let this out a little bit.
So those are weights, Skylar, to pull it down.
So, brass, you open it up, and then I put it down, and it caught on the bottom of the ice. It's actually, I know it says 13. It's actually 13 and a quarter because you have to take into account this part here.
So it's
13 and a quarter inches.
That's plenty.
Oh yeah, now I'm not so.
And did you see how I pulled that up? So see how it's kind of, here. It's on the bottom of the ice. I just give it a little tug and it folds in. Boop.
Isn't that neat?
That's it.
See how long it is?
Nice.
Okay, so depends on what state you're in. The DEC says 4 inches of black ice. So what you see on top here is snow ice. There was snow on top, it's melted, it's frozen. The black ice is just what you would think. It's black, it's clear. And when this started, so when I did my first measurement, there were pockets of black ice, mostly because they didn't have like a snow event. This formed after that big snowstorm we had. Mm-hmm. So it got a head start. So 4 inches of black ice more than holds me, because the DEC says, I believe it's 4 inches will safely hold a 180-pound guy plus his ice fishing gear that he's dragging. No equipment, no vehicles at that point. So Pennsylvania, if you go over the border in Pennsylvania, DCNR will tell you there's no such thing as safe ice.
You don't know
Like
how the water's moving underneath, or how things have melted on the surface.
Correct. So that's a good point too, because even though you have that, at least 4 inches of black ice, and now you have snow ice on top, there's more than 4 inches of the black ice, by the way, just so you know. That can also happen, is there can be movement underneath that can erode, so you're not going to have even thickness. Mm-hmm. So that's why, I will, and I didn't start my my phone when we left, but I'll mark the location and I can measure it. So I use Gaia GPS, mostly because I do a lot of hiking, and it's one of the 2 apps, even though I do not rely on electronics when I'm in the Adirondacks, paper maps. It's one of the 2 apps that the DEC does recommend, because you will get pretty accurate position from the satellite. Even if you don't have cell service, it's not bad. It's way better than all trails. People swear by all trails. No.
Cool. I'm glad
So
you
what I'll
cleared
do
that out.
is, like, this is literally where we're at right there.
Is this what you're, so it tracks you? So you're taking
Yeah.
pictures of where you're walking, and you're actually you're just screenshotting it, and that's what you're putting out?
So what I'll do, like at the end of when it's all said and done, and I actually removed the 2 routes that I had from last week here, so that it was a cleaner map. That was my route across from yesterday. So what I'll do is, that's the route that I walked yesterday, and that's the location that we are at, like right now. But what I'll do is, after I've I can say, I'll add a waypoint here, and what do we say, 13 1/4? So I'll do 13.25, and I mean, I might just make a little note that overall the ice is wet, so that I know that there's melt going on, even like down through, because that's when you start to get, that's eventually what's going to lead to it breaking up, is the water will percolate all the way down through, because of the way the ice forms, the structure of it, the crystal structure. And then I just save it. And then what I discovered this year is I can set I can do it in the settings so that my note actually shows up. So I don't have to go through and literally type in, okay, 30.25, 12.50, because that's time consuming. So then when I'm done and I go home, I have a tablet, and so I can screenshot a bigger area, and then I'll go in and I've got a pencil, a tool that I can, circle an area, and then I don't want to handwrite my stuff, because even though I'm a teacher, I'm not the neatest printer. I'm a very neat printer, but that takes me time. So I'll just type that information in, and I make whatever notes I need to make on it, and then that's what I end up sharing.
2 things are going through my mind right now.
Okay.
One, how do you prepare for ice safety? Because I'm seeing your spikes.
Yep.
And I don't know if everybody we just had somebody on Let's Catch Fish Nation, because the kids are out of school, was asking where they could go ice fishing. Mm-hmm. And because they're out of school, but now there's a whole lot that goes into that, which made me somewhat concerned that they're just going to go out to a pond with fishing poles and bait. But how do they prepare to be safe while they're out there? Because maybe you can explain.
I mean, the ideal is, first of all, when you pick your location, if you can do your research. I know there are 2 schools of thought when I get messages or comments from fishermen asking me, what's the thickness? There's the school of thought is they're lazy, they don't want to spud. And then there's gee, I'm so grateful that you're putting this information out. More the second than the first. So I always, I don't live around Keuka Lake, but I have enough people that I can message, because I've got a community following, that when I think that things can set up because the wind has settled down, I'll say, can you let me know what you're seeing? And they'll message me what they're seeing. And, can you let me know when the ice finally stays, so I can make note of that. And then I can roughly calculate, based on temperature, how much it should be growing, as long as there's no snow. Snow is the deal breaker, because it's a great insulating blanket. So I would say, if they can research the area, look for other fishermen that have been there. If not, then, and I do have a full-size spud at home, which I use early and late season. They need to spud, and when I say spud, they need to be, so it's a spud is a big, heavy metal rod with a point on the end, and it's got, make sure you put the wrist thing on, because if you don't have that on and you go through, you're going to lose it. It's heavy.
It's like one of those heavy stamper tools.
It is.
But instead of the flat, it's got the point.
A little bit of a point, yeah. And so you can, you would hit that, and most of the guys that spud will say, if I'm breaking through with 3 times through, then, it's maybe a little thin for my blood. For me, I would be fine because I know what my weight is and I know when I've got my sled what everything is. And honestly, early in the season, I turned around, but as I was measuring out of Indian Pines, I was on about 2.25-ish inches of black ice, which I know can support me just fine. Little too much on the, little on the edge for my liking in case something were to happen.
What's the reason you have your spikes?
Exactly. But my whole goal is I don't want to have to self-rescue.
Right.
So I made a note of it, turned around. But the thing is I could see, I knew there was a change in the ice. See, this is the disadvantage once you get snow on it and once you get the snow melting, you can't see. Like I know, I saw this area and I'm like, I bet you there's a difference between measurements on this side of this whitish area and the other. And sure enough, there was. That was like a dividing line. So I would say they need to spud every, if it really is an unknown body of water and it's early in the season, or even if we have an really extended melt, they need to be spudding every, I watched a guy last year, he spudded every 2 to 3 weeks over the outlet at Indian Pines, which, it took him a ton of time, but he didn't fall in.
How far do they go? You said every 2
I've
weeks,
seen him do every 2 to 3 feet, maybe a yard.
Really?
But if you're going through, then doesn't mean everything around you is thinner, but then you need to be spudding more frequently to find your route.
Right.
So if they can really do the research, talk to other ones that have been out. But again, just because it was a certain way one day doesn't mean it's that way tomorrow. Like things change. Things change, yes.
That fast.
Yes. I know a lot of the ice fishermen will have like the float coats. I don't really see too much of that. Not
coat,
here. Yeah.
When I was out with my buddy Kevin and Roger and that crew, they were, Roger posted up, there was like a huge sail, so it was cool.
I saw
that. But they have flotation in them.
Yeah.
They said they can keep you afloat for hours.
They can.
But they're not a Coast Guard approved.
Right, but it'll still get the job done if you should fall. Yep.
Right, as long as it gives you an opportunity to self-rescue.
Or until somebody can.
Right.
Because I know if you don't have that, what they'll say, especially if it's super cold and somebody never be in this position, is, you've got about 2 minutes. And I mean, you can talk about that from, the standpoint of the brain and the body and the response, but you really have about 2 minutes. That's it.
It's cold.
So when you go in and you actually get your head wet, the first polar bear plunge I ever did, it was planned. I was amazed because time stopped. Like literally, I felt like time stopped. It stood still. And I thought I was moving my arms and legs to get to the surface. Not well. And I'm being kind. So when somebody just, and I knew I jumped in, like I knew I was doing it. But when people break through and their head goes in, their first reflex is going to be to suck in. And so if they get water in that first breath, they don't have 2 minutes at that point. Right? That's real trouble. But if they can get their head up, so what they'll say in even colder climates is get your arms on the ice, and if it's cold enough, you're going to freeze yourself to the ice shelf. That is not ideal, but
it's still better.
It gives you hopefully some. And
at least your brain's going to still be alive.
Yeah. So they need to do their research, talk to anybody who's been out. If they don't have current information, they need to be spudding. If they do have they can drill and measure, because I've seen you don't need a fancy measuring tool, you can use a tape measure, and then that's how you make your path out.
How do you age ice?
Yeah, when you pull up cross sections of ice, the first thing you'll see is, there's the snow layer, there's the black ice. And you measure it because on average, generally speaking, your snow ice is half the strength of black ice. So like 6 inches of snow ice would be the equivalent of roughly 3 inches, but it's still not as structurally sound if you just look at it from
snow ice.
I would rather be on 2.5 inches of black ice than 4 inches of snow ice. Yeah. I would.
So this is all snow ice right
Yep.
here.
Yep.
How far down Can you tell, you know, obviously you're going to need to do a core
Right.
to be able to really do
So yeah, so when and that's hopefully the plan at Indian Pines at the end of the week is I will drill 2 or 3 holes, and then I have a big blue 84-inch ice saw, and I just connect the dots. And then that first push of water will push it up. I'll grab it, and I'll lay it out on the tarp so that you can see the layers, and then I'll measure it so you know how much snow ice and how much black ice. Yeah.
Can you tell by when you're drilling though? Because you
I can.
Okay, that's where.
Yeah.
The reason I know she can age it is because she was telling me in our first time ever talking on the phone, she can tell by the way the auger is going through the ice. She can feel whether it's snow ice or black ice.
And everything that came up today was wet. Now that doesn't mean it's not all snow ice. It just means that water is kind of percolating down through. Before this warm up happened, when you drill through the black ice, there's just a different sound and feel to it. And you're not going to get to hear it today just because everything's wet. But you really can. So those are gas holes.
These are gas holes.
That froze. So see how it looks black? That's black ice. So that's good ice. So those holes came up, but the problem is that's black and it's sunny out. It kind of sucks up the sunlight. This color reflects it, white and black.
Black hole.
So eventually that'll be a place where it'll break down. And this is just, they call it an octopus, and it was just an upwelling of water when things were freezing. See the tentacles? Yeah.
It's an octopus.
You want to drill through that? You want to drill through it? Let me get it going, and then I'll let you. We'll see how deep this is.
You can tell now.
That's all. Cool. That's all wet though.
Want to pull it?
It doesn't drill very easily when it's wet like this. I can tell you that.
The blades are catching.
Yep.
Even mommy.
It's hard. It was way easier last week.
Let's do it, Skylar. Help me. Push.
Oh, we're getting to the end. Can you hear that and feel it? We're close to breaking through.
Pull it.
We're close.
Pull it.
And push. Come on, a little bit more.
We can
got it.
Grab it. Here, pull it. I'm helping you. It's right there.
I was going to say, we're real close. There it is. I knew it was there.
I've done enough.
Here,
look at the snow.
It feels like
here.
a snow cone.
It's a snow
It is
cone.
like snow cone.
I kind of want to put some syrup on it and eat it.
Ooh.
There you go. And you know what I did the other day that got my foot wet? Is I did it and I swooshed it with my foot, and it just went whoosh. And I got a nice, we call it a hot foot.
A hot foot?
Yeah, when you get the water all over your dry socks. You know.
Okay.
Is that cool?
So this would be 12 1/4. And that was all black ice. Did you hear that? That's the lake talking.
Did you hear that was gas? It didn't even ask you to pull its finger.
That's funny.
And it's a finger lake.
Okay. Oh, that's a dad joke right there. That's funny. If we were to be on this and all of a sudden the water's gone, we better get ourselves off the ice. You want to know why? That means a crack opened up and that water's draining. But this is good. People always think that if there's water on the ice, that ice fishermen shouldn't be out on it. That's not true. I mean, you saw how thick we're on, but if all of a sudden you're in 1 inch, 2-3 inches of water and all of a sudden it goes, you better start working your way to shore because something's opened up and it's draining. Well, they had the skaters get caught on Champlain. It started to break up and offshore, and so they were working a rescue from New York State side. And they had actually gone over to the Vermont side because they could skate to that side, but it started to break up a little bit, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, they were fine.
But
they didn't need rescue, but somebody called it in like, you've got skaters out there and the ice is breaking up.
Better to be
Oh,
safe than
absolutely,
sorry at that
because you just don't know. Oh, this is, there's an octopus here. That's a nice one, actually. And you've got some signs of gas holes along this. This is just an area where I'm going to say probably a combination of water coming up and gas. That's what's happening at the bottom of the lake is nature farting.
Methane.
So yeah.
But
Yeah,
the methane
it's
is from-
decomposition of like leaves, trees, organic matter,
It's like
and then
the planet Uranus.
yeah.
It's the same gas that cows put out.
Yep, it is. So what happened here,
You can see the
like there was snow that had, not snow, sorry. You could see the bubbles kind of frozen in different places. So at night, if it was pretty quick, these bubbles just got trapped. They got frozen in time, basically. I'm usually very torn about certain things because some things are just so beautiful. I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. Like, that's why I just took pictures of those stacked methane bubbles. Was I curious how thick the ice was around? Yes, but I didn't want to ruin it.
If you had gone and drilled, would you have felt air pockets when you had gone through?
You mean
those?
if I'd gone right
If
through the
you had drilled
methane?
through the methane bubbles, would it have felt like a pocket?
I don't, that's a good question. I don't think there were enough of them stacked. Like there are lakes that are all that, and you probably would.
Okay.
I would think. I don't know though. Like I really don't know. But there were not enough stacked in that location.
It was just a dumb question.
No, it's a good question. It's a little bit. It's better ice. It's almost. Yep. I knew we were there. So, oh, you want
me to switch it?
You can. So where I hit an air pocket was at Indian Pines. The second week that I measured, so it was after that storm, and it was in that stacked ice field. So what had happened was you had ice sort of on the surface, and I knew I was coming to the bottom pretty quickly. Oh, that's okay. I can. And then I broke through and I'm like, I should not be hitting water. No water came up, continued to lower the auger, drilled again. So there were air pockets there. But it's just because the ice was stacked. Oh, you're fine. Yeah, this is all black. You can see it. It's all black ice.
Well,
this is all black ice.
Because you could see it all the way down. It's like you could see where the drill was cutting through.
Yep. I wish it wasn't so wet because when it's just a cold day and that is coming up dry, you'll get, with the sun out, you can get different kind of refractions. They're just beautiful.
Michele, thank you so much for meeting up with us out here on Keuka Lake and sharing your knowledge. What you've done from Antarctica to right here in our own backyard is pretty incredible. Not just the science, but the way you bring it to life for students, anglers, and the whole community. We really appreciate you taking the time to educate all of us and helping us better understand the ice we stand on every winter. That means a lot.
Like, subscribe, watch more videos. Bye.